Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Finally, we win. It seems like a long, long time since we've won a game in the Premier League. I don't know why it feels that way. I think it was the last win was against Everton, that amazing last few minutes. That was mid-March now, so it seems like it's been a long, long time coming. And boy, what a time. 3 huge points, absolutely crucial. Whichever way the wins come now, I'm at peace with it. It's not good for my heart rate, though, of course, or my blood pressure watching these games. But Arsenal have won thanks to a cracking goal from Eberechi Eze. And there's a lot to talk about in this instant reaction podcast. This is the Real Arsenal Deal. Hello and welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal. Rav here, your host as always. How is everyone today, wherever you are in the world? Thank you so much for watching, listening, tuning in. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on audio, thank you so much. I'm recording this first thing Sunday morning here, Melbourne time, Australian time. The match finished at around 4:30 this morning, a 2:30 a.m. kickoff. I always find that one of the most challenging kickoff times because it's just right in that really nasty spot where it's too early to just watch the match and stay up all the way through. It's also just too late in the morning as well to try and squeeze in a little bit of sleep afterwards. But thankfully, an Arsenal win makes it all sweeter. I did doze off a little bit after the game, got back to sleep around 5, and then the kids wake up and it's on like Donkey Kongs. Coffee is my friend today, and the fact that Arsenal won, right, 3 points, it makes everything sweeter, puts everything into context as well. Arsenal are back on top of the league, obviously with a game in hand, albeit temporarily, because City will have their turn. I think they actually have a week off now. I actually believe they do. They played FA Cup as well, and then in fact I think Arsenal play twice now before City play again. That's right. So Arsenal then will host Fulham next weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to. My family and I were going to be lucky enough to be at that game. We'll be traveling to London in a few days' time. So hopefully by then it's 6 points on the board with 2 games in hand, and then it's over to City to see what they can do. But first and foremost, it's about getting the job done. This was a huge result. Arsenal. I'll just say this off the gate. Arsenal were not good. This was a really difficult performance. We've been struck again by injuries, such as the way this season works is that we just can't seem to have a nice run of things, is there? Like we get players back. It's been this way all season. We may get 1 player back in the matchday squad, perhaps 2, but then you lose 1 or 2, or sometimes even you lose more than you gain back. And it's just been the nature of this season. We have not had a consistent run with this this best 11. I guess we all have a best 11 in our head. For context, if all players are fit and available, I know as mythical and magical as that scenario sounds, but I would love to have a run at Champions League semi-finals, crunch time in the Premier League, with an 11 that looks along the lines of like Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, or even Hincapié, right? Because his performance again this morning was monstrous. He's absolutely in contention to be Arsenal's first choice left back. And just moving through the rest of the lineup, Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard in midfield, Eze on the left, Havertz up forward, and Saka on the right. We've never seen that. We have never seen a lineup, especially with that front four. We've never seen that front four start together. And we've been as close to it as possible in this last 2 matches with Eze, Odegaard, and Havertz up forward. Unfortunately, Kai, after 25 or so minutes, he's gone down with what looks to me. I mean, I'm no injury expert, but I can read body language. The look on his face said it all. Going straight down the tunnel, the shakes of the head, and it looked really. It looks bad. And at this point of the season, it doesn't need to be like catastrophic or severe to rule you out for the season. But if it's a muscular issue or a setback, and he's suffered so many of them, hasn't he, over the last 12 months or so? If it's a 4 or 5 weeker, for example, that's the season. That's done. And it's really, really frustrating from an Arsenal point of view because we just can't seem to get the players fit and available together consistently enough to sustain what it is we're trying to do. It's a whole nother conversation to be had about that, and I guess now may not be the time to do it because we've just got so many matches. We've got a match again in 3 days' time, Atletico Madrid, the first leg going away to Madrid. Then we've got Fulham next week, second leg Madrid. Then after that, I believe it's West Ham, and from there at least the fixture congestion will somewhat ease off, because then there'll be actually a week's break between weekend Premier League matches between Burnley and Crystal Palace on the final day. But it's just this next 10, 12 days, again, it just looks so tricky. We lost Eze as well. He looked a bit more positive, a bit more upbeat. I've just seen some quotes from him post-match saying that it's more so precautionary. And I've read Arteta's quotes as well, that they're muscle niggles. But then again, I mean, what's he going to say? I mean, he also has been saying for quite some time that Timber and Calafiori are very, very close to returning, and they were very close for certain matches, but the decision was made late, and hopefully they're back the next time. And we've been saying that sort of 3 or 4 matches in a row now. But anyway, it's just a lament I have, that I just don't think we're going to be able to get a sustained run of our best players. And it often doesn't get spoken about enough when people criticize or lament the way we play, how difficult it is watching Arsenal matches. And no doubt it is. The fluency, the stringing together of passes, ball retention, technical quality, trying to get the ball forward and keep it, it all falls away. And this is no criticism of the individuals involved. We've discussed this at length. I've discussed this at length. We keep trying to make an adjustment with this Martinelli, Gyökeres, Madueke front three. It's just, no matter how hard you try, you just end up getting back there again. This time through injury, we had to make 2 substitutions throughout the match using 2 of those substitute windows, which again has a real impact on the game state and what you can do later in the game by substituting injured players. And then all of a sudden we were back with that same front three that we've been trying to move away from. And to be fair, I think Arteta realizes it. I think we all realize it, that we're trying to move towards a first choice front four with Odegaard playing behind them, Eze on the left, Havertz up forward, and getting Saka's conditioning back up to a point where he can start. And that changes everything. That front four changes everything. It just shows you a level of technical quality. It gives you a window and insight into how Arsenal want to play and transition the ball and keep the ball. Even in the minutes Havertz was on the pitch, I mean, he was pretty involved too. The times where Raya can, with confidence, lump the ball forward over the top. Havertz can duel, and he's there for the second duel. Players are around him. He can win a goal kick. He can win a throw-in or a corner or a foul, or he can just present himself and get players close to him. Eze's playing close to him as well. We can actually win duels and keep the ball. Unfortunately, when we lose our best players and we're left with Gyökeres as the target, he's just not that type of profile. We've said this endlessly, and I'm probably getting a bit sick of saying the same things again and again. And if you've heard me repeatedly bang on about it too, you're probably sick of it as well. But this is the reality, is that our backup choices have become the main guys, and that makes a huge impact on how you play and the quality of the football. And it doesn't get spoken about enough. People bemoan Arsenal for being boring, and all sorts of other words are thrown at Arsenal. And I totally understand that. It's not pretty. I don't enjoy necessarily watching it too, trying to calm my heart rate down at 4:30 in the morning to get back to sleep after that, when it's just such an overwhelming relief that we clung on. This is not sustainable. We know that. And in matches as tight as this, what it does highlight is how you need this, a game breaker, a game changer on the pitch like Eze. It's Eze's goal that separates the two teams today. An absolute world-class quality elite ball striker. That's what you want. That's exactly what you need, because he was the difference in the game. Imagine not having him, even for the time he spent on the pitch. We don't really have that elsewhere. I know on paper we look into the likes of Saka to do it, but he's only returning. He can only manage 20 minutes today. You need your guys out there. You need them presenting themselves, taking those shots on with confidence, that swagger. That's the difference between 3 points or not here today. So that's my overall summary on Arsenal's style of play and how edgy and nervous these matches can be. I thought the crowd were fantastic, by the way. Very, very supportive, very encouraging all the way through. There's not really much more you can ask from the crowd. Look, also from the players' point of view, I have to say this, despite the criticism as well of Arsenal's game play, you cannot fault the players' effort. I mean, you absolutely cannot fault them. They're emptying the tank out there. They're giving everything. And you saw even when the final whistle blew, if you tuned in just to watch those scenes post-match, you wouldn't necessarily know Arsenal won, because the images you would have seen were players holding their knees collapsed over, hunched over. Rice was Odegaard. Gabriel as well. Like they're exhausted. They're absolutely spent because they gave everything out there. And it was more so a relief than celebration because I think we all know what's at stake now. This is, as Arteta referred to, this is game 1 of 5. They just win somehow. Each and every one of them just win. It's 15 points that we need, 15 points that we want to try and seal this Premier League title. We know it shouldn't be this close. We shouldn't even be in this position. We shouldn't be talking about goals for or goal differences. And it shouldn't take me looking ahead at City's fixtures and thinking, oh, maybe they drop points against, the likes of Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton. They're playing for Europe. It shouldn't even be a topic. We should have put this to bed by now. I think we all know and understand that. It is what it is now. This was game 1 of 5 and we got the job done. So there's a level of peace I am with that about the way we play and the lack of fluency and not having our key players available. I know, though, that the players on the pitch, they're going to give everything they can to see this through. In the summer, there's going to obviously be some decisions made about how we recruit, the robustness of players. Do we need to make a decision on certain players, their unreliability? All that sort of stuff's going to have to wait. But between now and then, what we're looking for is players to put their hands up and come in and do a job and do it to the best they can. As much as, look, I thought Madueke was much improved today, by the way. I should have said that earlier. He was a lot better. Martinelli does a lot of running. He took an important yellow card as well when he sensed the danger and got back and a professional foul. Lewis Skelly should have done something different, something similar as well, by the way. That was the difference later on. I think Walter Mata had too much of a run at a ball late in the match. I'll come back to that a little later. But just to finish my point here is that as much as we can lament the lack of chance creation and all that sort of stuff and the lack of technical quality that happens when we field this front three, one thing that also doesn't get mentioned is that we have to give them the credit because they don't get enough credit for this point, that they're available. Sometimes the best reliability is availability. Despite the shortcomings in technical quality and retaining the ball and doing some of the basics right, how Gyökeres couldn't lay that ball across, during injury time was really frustrating for me. I mean, you got to square that. It was a two on 2 players free basically. Have to wheel it across there, and we could have put the game to bed. Saka, I'm sure, one-on-one with Pope would have gone in to bury it, and it's 2-0 and game over. And plus another crucial goal, by the way. But anyway, as much as we lament their shortcomings, you have to give them credit that they're available. That you can't say that with all the other players. I mean, how many times has Madueke been injured and we think he may be out for a while? He's going to get scans. He's imaged on crutches with a knee brace. But he just somehow puts his body on the line. He makes himself available. Time and again, they're making themselves available. And you have to give them credit for that. Right, not everyone is doing that at the moment at Arsenal. And these guys are putting their hands up, ready to play for the manager, for the team, for their teammates to come in and do the job. So let's go all the way back to the first half. The opening 20 seconds, Newcastle will be kicking themselves here, by the way. They actually fashioned some really clear-cut chances this game. I reckon if you're a Newcastle fan, you'd be ruined the fact that they didn't get something out of this game because the opportunities were there. Right? They weren't creating sustained chances, especially in the second half, chasing the game. Arsenal did really well to keep them out. Some fantastic defending throughout the match. Hincapié, I thought, was outstanding. I should mention him again because he was absolutely brilliant. Even in the dying minutes, he's still charging forward, winning second, third duels. Just fantastic player he is. I've got a lot of time for him. Newcastle, though, that opening 20 seconds, they broke straight through. Willock just charged through, right? Arsenal's midfield. There's a huge gaping space for him to play in. And I don't quite know what happened. The reverse angle showed that Osula looks like he toe poked it with his right foot just as he was squaring up for a shot from his left, and it took the ball away from him, and the chance was snuffed out. That was a big let off. And then a minute or two later, Guimaraes had a clear-cut chance as well. Like, he got space in front of Arsenal's box, in front of the back four. Newcastle got a bit of joy from that shot, didn't they? Tonali as well in the first half. That was a real wicked shot, just wobbling around, going left, going right. Raya's done so well to get down and block it out. And as David Raya does, he's so quick to get up. His reflexes are super sharp. He got straight up to be prepared for what, if any, rebound. I mean, that ball could have gone anywhere. Thankfully, it didn't deflect into the path of a Newcastle player because then there was an open goal. But Raya was there, and there were warning signs for Arsenal. I don't quite know what was happening with the positioning of Rice and Zubimendi. Over the last few months, we've seen that their evolution of their partnership, their pairing in midfield has changed. Sometimes it looks to me that Zubimendi is still the sole six at the base. Sometimes it looks like a double pivot. It does ebb and flow during matches. But one thing that bugged me during the opening stage of this game was that we just left too much space for Newcastle to operate in. And I was looking to my midfield to say, hey, step forward, step up, close down that space. I didn't like seeing time and again Newcastle able to run in with spaces to operate in. That's not typical what you see from an Arsenal point of view. Thankfully, though, it didn't cost us. We course corrected as well in the second half. We really did well to close down that space. And as the game went on, Newcastle, their tactics shifted as well, right? They had a number of substitutions up their sleeve on the bench. They were trying to use their wingers more, use their width. So more crosses were coming in, and we blocked out the central areas. So thankfully, they got not as much joy through that corridor in the first half. But if you're watching that game again from an Arsenal point of view, the tactics, right, when they rewatch that, I think they're going to be saying, hey, you cannot keep giving your opposition that much space to operate in the central corridors. So after the nervy few, opening minutes, 2 or 3 minutes on the clock, Arsenal settled into a nice routine. We won some corners. In fact, we won 3 corners in the space of maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And again, it must be a tactical thing, like must be a set play that I've been seeing this more and more. The way we did corners in the first half of the season has evolved because teams adapt. Teams are watching just as much as we do, right? They know what we're going to try and do. They know who the targets are, Gabriel and whatnot. So they're going to do their absolute best to zonal mark them and give us very little space to operate in the box. So we've now come up with some short corner routines to the frustration as well, I heard on my earphones, to the frustration of the crowd on that side when we took a couple of successive short corners that didn't really amount to anything. Third time lucky it was, wasn't it? Yeah, because that's right. Eze took one shot. I think it went wide for a goal kick. Took it off his left foot, but then we tried it again. Madueke's played the short corner in. I think it's worked its way to Zubimendi, and then Havertz laid it off to Eze, and just a magnificent strike. Just a beautiful, beautiful goal. Every angle I watch of it, every time I look at it, it just gets better and better. The whip on that ball, the swerve, it's unsavable. You're not going to save that. Just a thing of beauty into the side netting, 1-0 to the Arsenal. And as it turns out, that was the game winner, the game-changing moment. 3 points right there. Having the quality of a player like Eze on the pitch, that's what you get. And I'm really hoping there's nothing too serious from an injury viewpoint for him, because he's just got to play every minute possible that he's able to do between now and however many matches we have remaining. Well, it's minimum 4 league matches now, and at minimum 2 Champions League matches. So can we get 6 more starts out of Eze? I'm not sure. Remains to be seen how severe the injury is. However, he's someone that you just need on the pitch. This is what we bought him for, because you just always in the game with Eze on the pitch. He may drift through certain moments. He may go through quiet patches, but having that quality, that attacking threat, we don't really have it elsewhere otherwise. Especially shot taken from outside the box. That's a real challenge for Arsenal. One, to find the space there, because we understand the types of mid and low blocks we come up against consistently, but also just creating open play chance creation. It is a challenge for Arsenal. With Odegaard back now, he's always a threat. Like the two of them together, they can be the game changers. At any moment, at any time, any opposition, these are the guys you want on the pitch, because you never know what can happen. Still, though, I still don't understand how Eze's shot came out last week against City. Just an amazing strike. He took Donnarumma off the table, kisses the inside of the post, and it just rolls. Unfortunately, doesn't roll the way we want it to. And that's what you get with Eze. You need him on the pitch. So I'm really hoping it's nothing too serious. So I've already mentioned the Havertz substitution. So Gyökeres is on the field, and you saw in the closing 10 or so minutes before halftime, you just saw our rhythm, the way that we played, changed. Understandably, because there is an adjustment with that type of long ball, that out ball. Gyökeres, to his credit, though, like he was doing things in the second half that I don't really associate with Victor Gyökeres. Like the way he was able to win duels, he was sprinting, harassing players. There was one key duel that he won that brought the crowd to their feet, brought them alive again. I was clapping quietly in bed watching it. The way he's chased down that left-hand side, he hasn't won the first ball, but he's harassed. He wins a second ball and distributes it back, and we've kept possession. That was fantastic because he's got the size and the strength. He's got the type of physique where you think that he's going to be a real handful, that one-on-one, that this guy's going to be a beast that you can't get around. But unfortunately, we just don't really see that level of physicalness to his game. If you know what I mean, like his finishing is what we want him on the pitch for. Like we want him on the pitch for one or two moments that might break to him or fall his way, and you want him to take the thumping shot. But across an entire match, like across 90 minutes, we're not getting the same benefits from having him on the pitch by just doing some of the essentials right in Arsenal's system. It's not a criticism of him, I should reiterate. It's just a match for our system. And the challenge is now that, it's one thing if we need to go there to Madrid and start with him. It's a different type of match. The European games, playing away in Spain, that may suit him depending on who we shape up around him. It all depends if Eze can start again or Odegaard, if Saka's available to play. But the technical profile of the players you play around with you makes a big, big difference. Like, can you carry a profile of that type of striker, the Gyökeres type striker in our system? That remains to be seen. But longer term, especially the Premier League matches, we really do need Kai Havertz there. And if it's as bad as it perhaps looks, I can't not mention Mikel Merino now as well. I mean, for all that's been said and done about Mikel Merino, how much football he played as our number 9 last season, our 4th choice really on paper. He brings him back onto the table as well. Like he still suits us in that position. Unfortunately, he's out as well, and it's just really, really frustrating that we're back in this position. Maybe Gabriel Jesus, I don't know, can he play his way back into contention? I'm not quite sure, but Arsenal really do need, for this crunch time, for this running, we need our best players back on the pitch. It makes all the difference. And I'm just kind of running out of hope. And we're also running out of matches to be able to see this mystical 11 play together. I just don't think it's going to happen. So in the meantime, it's about how can we get the job done? What pairings can we use? What combinations can we use? What adjustments can we make? And who is willing to step up and put their hand up? And this is the time to do it. Once again, I should say, to the full credit of the players who then ended the match or who played this match, they gave absolutely everything. And the reaction post-match tells you that. They know what this means. They can feel it. We've lost momentum, haven't we? I know. Much has been said about we only lost 3 matches out of 49 in the opening 3 quarters of the season, and then we lost 4 in 6. And even though 2 of them are in cups, momentum still happens, right? Winning is a habit. To lose that, it can knock the stuffing out of you. It can really impact your confidence, the way you play, your energy, just the mood around the squad as well. It really does have an impact. So to actually get back to winning ways, I mean, this is so important. Sometimes it's not so much about how it comes. It's just getting it done, getting over the line. And can we do 4 more of this, right? Can we have 4 more game-changing, match-winning moments from the players that we do field on the pitch together? I hope so. I really do hope so. Because defensively, we are excellent. We know that. We also do ask a lot of Gabriel, Saliba, our defenders. Ben White, I thought was he grew into the match as well, played a couple of good passes. Equally, though, he's not Yuri and Timber, right? I've noticed how the opposition do target that space between him and the centre halves, and that's probably what Wissel was trying to do in this match. Like he just drifted. He just found that perfect little corridor of space. He dropped in behind Zubimendi. Zubimendi lost sight of him, and he's drifted in beautifully between Saliba and White. And he's onside, despite what I saw when I watched the live. I thought, nah, surely he's offside. He missed anyway, thankfully. It's like, thankfully, I need to hammer this point home, because if he scores that, right, it's onside. The goal counts. And that could potentially derail Arsenal's entire season, our Premier League campaign. We just got really, really lucky. I think maybe Raya deserves some credit here too, that he was alert to the danger, him charging out forward. Maybe he put Wissa off to the point that he snatched at it and he volleyed over. But whichever way you want to look at it, we got quite lucky. Speaking of goalkeepers and lucky, when I saw that Pope incident live, immediately I thought red card, absolute red card, because he's deliberately taken Gyökeres out. A very smart ball, by the way Gyökeres has hovered over, waiting for that out ball. In a one-on-one situation, right? If Gyökeres rounds Pope and he can look up and see an unguarded goal, I think it's a goal. I think he scores that. When Pope takes him down and the crowd erupts, the Arsenal players are incensed by it. Gyökeres erupts as well. I thought immediately it's a red card. The second angle I saw that there was a Newcastle defender that was closing in. Maybe it became enough doubt to say, would he have got to the ball before Gyökeres did? But the more I look at it again now, is that the reason Gyökeres is not able to get to that ball first, right, is because he's taken down. So to me, it doesn't match the textbook definition of denying a goal scoring opportunity. I think they're very, very lucky not to get a red card. I mean, if the roles were reversed, right, and if we copped a red card for that, I mean, we actually have. Last season, there were a few went there. There was Saliba, right, that was given yellow live, but then upgraded on replay. I believe Lewis Skelly as well, right? There was a Lewis Skelly one-on-one on the halfway line as well, when Raya was very much forward as well. And I believe that was upgraded to a red card too. That one was at the Emirates Stadium. And I just wonder, just sometimes these little breaks, I don't seem to quite fall our way in these sorts of decisions, but I also find myself getting very, very tired, very exhausted, really micro-analysing these officiating decisions. It's very, very tiresome, especially last season. Thankfully, not so much this season as others, but there were just a couple of moments as well this match, like that fouls that were given that weren't there. There was one Rice moment on the left-hand side where I think he's won the ball cleanly, and it wasn't a foul. Declan's reaction was one of frustration as well, and he got a yellow card for dissent. I just don't think it was a yellow card there at all. So if Newcastle got a red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity, I don't think they could have had too many complaints, and that would have changed the dynamics of the game, especially if Gyökeres was able to finish that. I think he scores. I think it's two. So just a couple of more quick points before I finish this one up. So later on in the match was a great moment with Bukayo Saka returning onto the field. Great reception. I saw even earlier in the first half when he started to warm up on the sidelines, the crowd really cheered him. It was a great lift for the stadium, the energy and the fans. That was lovely to see. Saka's first involvement just shows everything that why he's there on the pitch for. And Martinelli's played it across to him. He's dribbled in. It's one-on-one with Burn. He's been able to get the shot away. Fair play to Burn. He's got the block in and goes out for a corner. But just earlier on in the match, like Madueke had a couple of these half moments and just tried to take one or two too many touches. And he almost played himself out of the shot. He took himself out of the equation. There was one in particular was into the box in a prime position to shoot, but just took too many touches and the shot ended up being blocked. And that's what Saka gives you. I think Saka's attacking instincts, he would have got that shot away sooner, especially on his favoured left foot. So just having Saka back in contention is huge. I want to stop short about predicting how many minutes he can play because I've done this so many times. I did this as well with Havertz and Eze and Odegaard, and two of them got injured this match. So I don't want to jinx anything, but wouldn't it be amazing just to have now just the next 4 to 5 weeks knowing that you've got this group of players back that are going to be able to consistently play together. I mean, that makes all the difference when you're trying to do what Arsenal are trying to do at crunch time of the season. Just to have Bukayo back was a huge lift. He looks threatening as well. Just his presence there as well just lifts the entire team, the entire fan base as well. We know what he can provide and he can bring, especially with Eze off. We need the presence of Bukayo on the pitch, and just lovely to have him back. The key is that how does he recover? Because Achilles tendonitis can be something that in the days afterwards with recovery, it can flare up with pain and just, from having the workload of match time minutes. So you just hope he's okay. Hope he's going to be okay for the first leg away in Madrid and then Fulham next week at home. That's fingers crossed for that one. Lewis Skelly into midfield as well, I should mention. I don't think it's happened yet this season. That was a really interesting substitution when I saw Zubimendi's number on the board coming up. I was wondering who comes on for him, because Norgard didn't even make the match day squad on this one. I'm not sure if injured or not, or maybe squeezed out due to numbers. I'm not quite sure. But no Norgard on the bench. I was wondering who's coming on now for Zubimendi, and it's Lewis Skelly. Don't know how many touches he actually had in midfield, but this is interesting now. Maybe Arteta is thinking, look, he's got to do something now. We've got such a run of matches the next 10, 12 days. It's very, very congested. We know how overworked Rice and Zubimendi has been. I mean, it's been discussed at length. Absolutely. We failed to protect them to have them fit and firing for this running. So is he trying to see if he can get some relief minutes, get some crucial minutes into the legs of Lewis Skelly in midfield? I'm not quite sure, but we need to do something. Maybe that's his thinking. I was wondering, like, if you're going to do Lewis Skelly in midfield, surely it would have happened by now, because there have been opportunities, especially over the last sort of 3 to 4 months, during the Christmas period onwards, and we haven't quite seen it. There was one time he was about to start in midfield in the FA Cup match, but Calafiori, unfortunately, injured in the warm-up, meant that there was a last-minute reshuffle. Lewis Skelly had to play that game at left back. So I just wonder what could have been. So overall, we can finally breathe now. We can take a deep breath in. We won the game. 3 points to Arsenal, back on top of the Premier League, albeit with played the extra match. But you just got to get the job done now. You just have to, no matter which way possible, this has to be our focus now. Get the job done. So I'm going to sign off there. I don't quite know if I'm going to be able to record something post-match after the first leg against Atletico Madrid. It's a 5 a.m. kickoff here Thursday morning, Melbourne time. A couple of hours later, we'll be on our way to the airport to embark on our long 24-plus hour journey to London from Melbourne. So I will try to get something out. It's probably quite difficult to do something post-match, but maybe once we've settled into London, I'll try and get something out then. So if you don't hear from me until then, that's why. So please bear with me. I'm sure you'll survive, by the way, to a couple of extra days without hearing my random voice. But if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Follow my show on audio, Apple or Spotify. If you'd be kind enough to leave me a 5-star review, that would be most helpful, please. It would really help with engagement of the channel. So thank you so much. Look after yourselves. I'll talk to you all again soon. Enjoy the win as much as enjoy can be used as a descriptive word here. Got the job done, 3 points on the board, on to the next one. Look after yourselves. Come on, Arsenal.